Hello everyone, welcome to Logic Medico. Today's interesting topic is medial longitudinal arch. So in the foot we have three arches actually. On the medial side of the foot we have the medial longitudinal arch. On the lateral aspect of the foot we have the lateral longitudinal arch. And between the two, from side to side, we have the transverse arch. So there are three arches of the foot, specifically speaking 2.5 in each foot. The name of the three arches are medial longitudinal arch, lateral longitudinal arch, and a transverse arch. So today's topic is actually the medial longitudinal arch. So let's understand the medial longitudinal arch in detail. Before going to the medial longitudinal arch of the foot, let us understand. Just write the heading. Before going into the actual arch, let us understand what I have already written over here. This is a engineering arch, okay, in which we can see the stones. There are many stones, out of which one of the stone is wedge shape and it is called the keystone. That is a major stone. If I remove this stone, the entire arch will collapse. So it's called the keystone. Next, where the stones are touching the ground, this is the ground level, and that is called as a pillar. So first is stone, second is pillar. In the engineering arch I am talking, okay. The third aspect is connecting the pillars from one pillar to another pillar. There will be a beam. It's called a tie beam because it's tying the pillar. Then connecting, imagine each of this stone as a segment. So connecting one segment to another segment, there is a staple, okay, or also called as intersegmental tie. Connecting one segment to the other segments. Then holding this arch will be a sling. You can see the sling is coming from above and holding this arch from above, like a cable bridge, no? Like that. That's called the sling. So in engineering we have the stones, we have the pillar, we have the tie beams and intersegmental tie and slings. Let's see what are these with respect to our human medial longitudinal arch. So first of all I will write the ground level. Okay, this is the ground. You should be able to draw the diagram. This is asked as a main question. This is 10 marker. So whatever I am drawing now is the largest bone in the heel among the tarsal bones is called the calcaneus. This is the calcaneus. Sitting on the calcaneus above, there is one bone. It's called the talus. So this bone means talus. It is sitting on the calcaneus. So just in front of the talus we have a boat shaped bone. This one, this boat shaped bone is called as navicular. Just in front of the navicular there are three wedge shaped bones, like a piece of cake, wedge shaped pastry like thing. Three wedge shaped. They are overlapping one another because this is a side profile I am showing. So the diagram should be like this. They are the medial, intermediate and lateral cuneiforms. Cunei means wedge, okay. There are three cuneiforms. In front of the cuneiforms we have the metatarsals. The first metatarsal is really large. This is the head of the first metatarsal. Next neighboring there will be second metatarsal. Next to that there will be third metatarsal. All the three metatarsals, their head is actually touching the ground. These are first, second and third metatarsals. So without much theory, I will tell you practically what about the stones, pillars, tie beams, intersegmental ties and slings in the medial longitudinal arch. Okay. So let's concentrate here. The stones over here are the bones. So name the bones forming the medial longitudinal arch. They are the calcaneus from posterior to anterior, calcaneus, talus, navicular, the three cuneiforms, medial, intermediate and lateral cuneiform, and the three metatarsals, the first, second and third metatarsal. What about the pillar? The medial tubercle of calcaneus, which is touching the ground, is the first pillar. It's a posterior pillar in the head of the first, second and third metatarsals. This is the anterior pillar. So posterior pillar is medial tubercle of calcaneus, anterior pillar is the heads of the first, second and third metatarsal. The keystone here, which is a wedge shaped bone, right? Wedge shaped stone. The keystone here is the head of the talus. Head of the talus. So the major joint here is the TCN joint. TCN means talocalcaneonavicular joint. That is the main joint. The main bone here is the head of the talus. Moving on to the next, tie beams. So what is tie beams? It connects posterior pillar to the anterior pillar. So these tie beams over here are, I'll show in the similar color code. Plantar aponeurosis connecting from here to here. There will be one aponeurosis, plantar aponeurosis. Of course, the medial half and the muscle present over here, adductor hallucis, and also flexor digitorum brevis. That is also medial part of it. So this is called the tie beam, as mentioned over here. This is a tie beam. So we saw the bones, we saw the pillars, which are anterior and posterior pillars, and we saw what is a tie beam. Moving on to the intersegmental tire, there is one beautiful ligament. It's called the plantar calcaneonavicular ligament, like this. But actually it's beautifully acting like a spring, so we call it as a spring ligament. It connects the calcaneus with the navicular. We can call it as plantar calcaneonavicular ligament. But whenever we jump and jolt, this head of the talus will come and bounce on this like a tennis racket and go up. Therefore this is called as spring ligament. So this is a spring ligament. What is a spring ligament? Is an example of intersegmental tire. Why? Connecting one segment to the other. One segment is calcaneus, the other segment is navicular. Okay, I hope you are staying with me. So the next one is, last one is slings. So what is the slings? Slings are nothing but the muscle. The muscle coming from behind is tibialis posterior. First muscle here acting like a sling for the medial longitudinal arch. I'll just show in this area so that there is no confusion. Tibialis posterior. The next sling is flexor hallucis longus, which is going to the great toe. Here we have the great toe, right? This is the nail of the great toe. This one. Flexor hallucis longus. The next sling will be flexor digitorum longus, going to the other toes. That's called flexor digitorum longus. So there are three slings here from behind. Tibialis posterior, flexor hallucis longus, and flexor digitorum longus. The sling from anterior plane includes tibialis anterior going to the navicular bone. This muscle is called as tibialis anterior. And from the lateral plane it will be peroneus longus, because it is also coming towards the first metatarsal, base of first metatarsal. So I'll tell you one more time. I'm teaching the slings here. The slings for the medial longitudinal arch are, out of these many, at least two. If you remember, it's good enough. Whichever structures comes on the medial aspect, that will be the sling. Okay, tibialis posterior from behind, tibialis anterior from the front, and peroneus longus from the lateral aspect, because that also enters the sole and traverses the sole to finally end in the lateral aspect of the base of the first metatarsal. Also, flexor hallucis and flexor digitorum longus are also a sling. So what are the slings doing? The slings are suspending this from above, right? So that is about the medial longitudinal arch. Actually, the medial longitudinal arch, the summit of the arch is formed by the talus. You can see this. This arch is like this. So whenever you want to walk on an uneven surface, this arch can adapt itself to walk on the stones or pebbles. On the mountain, you can walk without the Reebok shoes. Actually, the nature provided Reebok shoe is already there here. So this is the arches of foot will adapt. These bones and all will move across one another, so that you will adapt to this uneven surface without falling down. So the medial longitudinal arch is resilient. Resilient means it is dynamic. It is able to act like a shock absorber while jumping and jolting. And the soft tissues over here, including the nerves and vessels, the pressure is taken up by this medial longitudinal arch. So this resilient medial longitudinal arch is helping in adapting the human being while walking on an uneven surface, especially on a mountain or not so flat surface. Okay. To summarize the medial longitudinal arch, we can explain the medial longitudinal arch. If you just write this much, you will get 10 out of 10 marks. Just these two diagrams, one with respect to engineering, other one with respect to medical field. So this is with respect to engineer, this is with respect to the doctor. So let's compare this engineer with the doctor. In summarization, the arch of an engineer is formed by the stones. There are many stones. One of the major stone is wedge shape and it's called the keystone. The medial longitudinal arch, actually there are three arches, one on the medial border of the foot from the great toe towards the medial side of the heel, other one from the lateral aspect, and then side to side it's a transverse arch. So today's topic is medial longitudinal arch. I will limit myself to the medial longitudinal arch. The stones are comparable to the bones over here. The calcaneus, the talus, already written here, please see. Calcaneus, the talus, the navicular, the cuneiforms, the metatarsals, first, second and third metatarsals only. They form the stones. The key stone here, the key bone here is the head of the talus, and the key joint is a talocalcaneo-navicular joint. Moving on to the next pillar. That particular portion of the arch which is touching the ground is called the pillar. So we have two pillars in the arch. Here also we have two pillars. This pillar is called the posterior pillar because it's near the heel. It is nothing but the medial tubercle of calcaneus. This pillar is called the anterior pillar because it's towards the toe. The toe is no way forming the arch, okay? Even an amputated person, toe is amputated, the arch is still intact. The head of the three metatarsals are the anterior pillar. Moving on to the tie beams, what connects the pillar, one pillar to the other pillar is called the tie beam. Here the tie beam is mainly the plantar aponeurosis which connects the from this calcaneus to the head of the metatarsal. That is the plantar aponeurosis, of course the medial half, adductor hallucis and medial part of the flexor digitorum brevis are other tie beams. Okay. Then moving on to the intersegmental tires. You can see one stone is connected to other stone by a staple or an intersegmental tire. Like the main intersegmental tire for the medial longitudinal arch is this ligament which is between the calcaneus and navicular on the plantar surface. So we call plantar calcaneo-navicular ligament. When you jump and jolt, this talus will come and push this and it will bounce back. This talus will go back to its place. So therefore this is also called as a spring ligament. The plantar calcaneo-navicular ligament is also called the spring ligament. So that is the intersegmental tire. Last but not the least is the slings. These are nothing but the muscles which are holding the arch of foot from above like a sling. The muscle from the posterior compartment of the leg which are supplied by tibial nerve are tibialis posterior, flexor hallucis longus, flexor digitorum longus. The muscle from the anterior compartment is tibialis anterior, which goes to the navicular bone from front, supplied by deep peroneal. The muscle from the lateral compartment is peroneus longus, supplied by superficial peronella, going to the lateral aspect of the first metatarsal after passing through the sole. So all these things help in holding the arch in place. So what happens if any one of these is damaged? Let's see this last portion. If you are interested, please listen to this. So if the feet is like this, it's called the flat feet, also called the pes planus. So why does this happen? Somebody will have a doubt why this pes planus happens. See, problem in any one of these, either the stone, pillar, tie beam, intersegmental tire or slings, or the nerve supplying the slings can result in pes planus. So this is where you apply this actually. It's not just to get the marks, you have to apply whenever a patient comes with a flat feet. They have severe pain in the feet. Okay, you have to find out what is the root cause of it and treat accordingly. So here, if the person has got a fracture or displacement of the calcaneus, talus, navicular or the joint, talocalcaneo-navicular joint, dislocation of this joint, cuneiforms have got displaced or dislocated, metatarsals have got fractured. Any one of these bones fracture or displacement or dislocation of the joint can result in flat feet. Moving on to the next, pillars. Of course, there is a fracture in the pillar or posterior pillar, calcaneus or anterior pillar head of metatarsals. Again, there will be flat feet. Then moving on to the tie beams, plantar aponeurosis. Imagine there is plantar fasciitis and paralysis of this muscle, flexor digitorum brevis and adductor hallucis. So, abductor hallucis. So that time, which is there near the medial margin is abductor only, no? So that time the person will have a flat feet on that occasion. Intersegmental tire, which is the spring ligament here. Imagine there is a sprain of this ligament, especially it happens when the woman or the girls usually wear this kind of chappal, This is the shoe or the chappal. You must have seen this with a high heel, like this one. They are wearing like this, pointed or high heels. That time the spring ligament can get sprained. That is, a tear in the ligament is called a sprain. So when it's torn, obviously the summit will sink downwards, and they'll have pain in their feet. That's called the pes planus or the flat feet. Okay. Next, another last but not the least reason is damage to the slings. Imagine there is a tear in the muscle. Tibialis posterior, flexor hallucis longus, flexor digitorum longus, tibialis anterior peroneus longus. Any tear in these muscles or the nerve supplying it, especially the tibial nerve supplying the posterior compartment, if the tibial nerve is damaged, tibial nerve, or the deep peroneal nerve from anterior side is damaged or lesion is there, the superficial peroneal nerve, rarely but possible. That time the slings will not be able to hold this arch from above. So that time also the patient can end up with flat feet or pes planus. The treatment aspect for this pes planus, they have to wear the shoe or the chappal which has got a cushion in the center like this. It can be made by the cobbler like this. The shoe or the chappal will have a elevation like this to maintain the arch. So this like this, the shoe or the chappal will have a sole. Okay, that sole will have an elevation like this in the center and a cushion behind for support of the heel. The main support is this actually. Thank you for watching and learning from Logic Medico. If you like this video, please press the thumbs up icon and share these videos with your other friends who can benefit from this video. Don't forget to press the thumbs up icon showing that you like this video, and subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for the latest notification. Thank you once again. Have a good day. Bye.